If you're trying to decide which triathlon should be your very first, or you're wondering what race should come next, or maybe you're trying to figure out which race is the best to fit your goals, this episode is for you. Welcome to Coach Erin Says podcast. I'm Coach Erin Burge, owner of Three Goals Multisport Coaching, and each week I answer questions from athletes just like you to help you train smarter, race stronger, and make yourself proud. Today's question came from one of my athletes, Jeff. How do you choose the race that's best for you? There are thousands of triathlons to choose from, and the right answer isn't always the closest race, the flattest race, or the biggest name. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest things to think about before you register so you can choose the race that fits your goals, your abilities, and the experience you want to have. Let's dive in. If you know me at all, then you won't be surprised by the first thing that you should think about, and that is to start with your goal. Before you start scrolling through race calendars, ask yourself, what do I want this race to do for me? There's lots of different things it can do. Maybe it's your first triathlon. Maybe you want to improve your time, move up a distance, qualify for another race, compete for a series award, or simply enjoy racing and being part of the community. Your answer should drive every decision that comes after that. As a coach, I don't always get the opportunity to help my athletes pick their races. A lot of times they register for a race and then hire a coach. But when I do have that opportunity, I always start with your goal first. Once you know what success looks like for you, it becomes much easier to decide which race belongs on your calendar and which ones don't. The second thing to think through is choosing a race that fits where you are right now. If this is your first triathlon, choose a race that gives you the best chance of having a positive first experience. Sometimes that means you'll be close to home, so you don't have to add the logistics of travel and hotel. Make sure you have plenty of time to prepare. Make sure you have plenty of time to prepare. Maybe you want to make sure that the course fits your current abilities, or maybe it's just about the environment. Great volunteers, cool race directors, great swag, all of that stuff can be super important. Even if your long-term dream is a 70.3 or an Ironman, I almost always recommend doing a local sprint or Olympic first. Not because you're not capable of training up to a 70.3 or an Ironman distance without doing a shorter race first. I just like the opportunity of that shorter race to practice transitions, race morning logistics, nutrition, all that good stuff in a less important environment. We pay a lot of money for those 70.3s and Ironman distance races. So when you've got a little less on the line in those less pressure, shorter races, it makes them a ton more fun and helps you work out the bugs before you get into those longer races. If you're brand new and looking at race calendars thinking, I have no idea which one to choose, I'd be happy to help. I'm offering a free 15-minute consultation where we can talk through your goals, your concerns, and a few possible races together. You'll find the scheduling link for that 15-minute conversation in the show notes. Once you know the distance you want to race, look closely at the actual course. Ask yourself, what part of the race concerns me the most? Does this course suit the way I train? Does it allow me to use the fitness I'm building? And are there course features that could create unnecessary stress? For example, if open water makes you nervous, you may feel more confident choosing a current assisted swim, a calmer body of water like a lake, or a race that is likely to be wetsuit legal. If the bike is still your weakest discipline, look closely at the bike distance and the terrain. Some local sprint and Olympic races have bike courses that are a bit longer than the standard distance. If you're still working on your bike, maybe you don't want to choose one of those. It doesn't make them bad races. It just means they may not be the best fit for you right now. The goal isn't always to find the easiest course. The goal is to find the course that lets you show what you're trained to do. And if you're comparing 2 or 3 races and aren't sure which course fits you best, bring those options to me to that 15-minute consultation and we can talk through them together. The third thing I want you to consider is the timing and the logistics. A race can look perfect on paper and still be the wrong race for you if the timing doesn't work. Before you register, ask yourself, do I have enough time to prepare? What does my work and family calendar look like? Will travel make the weekend more stressful? Can I realistically complete the training this race requires? And are the transition and race day logistics manageable for my experience level? One of the biggest mistakes I see new athletes make is choosing a race only 4 or 5 weeks away. You may already be a strong runner or swimmer, but triathlon requires you to bring three sports together. You need time to practice transitions, pacing, fueling, open water, and how your body responds when you bike and then run. It's harder than you think. You don't need a perfect schedule, but you do need enough time to prepare safely and arrive feeling ready instead of rushed, no matter the distance of the race. After your first triathlon, you might find yourself heading in one of three directions. The first is, I know I can do that better. These are the people that finish the race and start immediately thinking about how they could do that race faster. In this case, you'll repeat the distance, but give yourself time to work on pacing, transitions, nutrition, or overall time before you register for the next race. The second direction would be, I'm ready for the next challenge. These are the people that finish a sprint and decide to move up to an Olympic, or finish an Olympic and move up to a 70.3. You get the idea. And the third is simply, I love this. I get to see this so often. You know, those people, they're smiling from ear to ear the entire time they're racing. Their goal is to be part of the community and have all the vibes absorbed. One of my athletes, Angela, finished a sprint distance race, her second, just this spring. And she crossed that finish line and looked me dead in the eye and said, can we do that one again? That's this type of person. You love race morning, you love the people, you love being part of the triathlon community. Not every next race has to be longer. Not every race has to be about getting faster. Sometimes the next race is the right race simply because you want to experience it again. Reaching out to the community and finding out which races they love best is often how to pick your next race if you're in that bucket. The fourth thing I want you to think through is decide how the race fits into your overall season. Once you have some experience and you're no longer choosing only one race at a time, you're designing a season. Start by identifying the biggest goal and choosing your A race. Your A race is where your main goal happens. Maybe you want to complete a new distance, set a personal best, qualify for a championship, compete for a series award, or execute a race better than you ever have before. Once you know what that overarching goal is for the entire season, choose that race first. This becomes your A race. Then look at every other race through the lens of whether it helps or hurts that goal. Your B and C races should support your A race instead of competing with it. Protect your A race. Before you add another race to your calendar, ask, will I have enough time to recover? Will this interfere with important training weekends? Can this race replace a scheduled key workout? Will the training stress be similar to what my plan already requires, or will it mess everything up? Am I racing because it supports my goal or because I'm afraid of missing out? Personally, I often choose aqua bikes for my B and C races. Sometimes my A race is an aqua bike as well, but I love to do aqua bikes as my B and C races because I still get to enjoy race day. I love the community. I am definitely somebody in the I love to race bucket. And when I remove the run by doing these aqua bikes, I reduce my recovery cost and do a better job of protecting races that matter most. More racing isn't automatically better. As a matter of fact, I've had a few coaches that have told me it's definitely not better. The right amount of racing is the amount that helps you reach your goal, while still letting you recover and train and while letting you be a part of the community. I'm actually in an Airbnb right now in northern Michigan because I chose Michigan 70.3 as an important race for me. It will be an A race as I reach for one of my big season goals, and that is to qualify for the 2027 Ironman 70.3 World Championships, which will be in Chattanooga next year. When I chose Michigan 70.3, I didn't choose it based only on whether I liked the course or not. I considered where it fit in my season, and my daughter's getting married this year. So, not only my race season, but also my life season. So, you definitely want to make sure you consider both of those things. I considered how much time I would have to prepare for the race and how it worked around my other races. I'm doing North Carolina 70.3 and I'm doing Sprint and Olympic Nationals in August. So a late September race worked really well for me. And then I wanted to consider if it would give me a reasonable opportunity to pursue my qualifying goal. One of the things that helped me consider this is the schedule. It puts it 1 week after the 2026 World Championship in Nice. So, of course, that doesn't guarantee an easier field, but it is one factor that may affect who chooses to race in Michigan. When you are pursuing a major goal, it makes sense to consider every reasonable factor that could help you put together your best race. You still have to train, you still have to execute. And that's why I'm in Northern Michigan right now doing recon of the bike course so that I know exactly how to best train and will be prepared to execute on race day. But we could also choose the race that gives your preparation the best opportunity to show. The last thing that I want you to consider is the community. Number 5 is never underestimate community. If two races fit equally well on paper, community is my tiebreaker. Choose the race with the atmosphere that excites you. Choose the race with great volunteers. Choose the race where your friends or teammates will also be participating. Choose the race where you'll have people to train with, look for on the course, and celebrate with afterward. The triathlon community has been one of the greatest gifts the sport has given me, and I want every new athlete to experience that too. A race can have complicated logistics and still be a wonderful first experience because of the community surrounding it. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I often recommend 70.3 North Carolina as a first 70.3, even though it has two transitions, is because of the community around it. Now, the race director, Sammy, does an amazing job of simplifying the race logistics, but it does have two transitions, which can be complicated if you aren't paying attention ahead of time. But the atmosphere and the community give you such an overall incredibly special experience that it's worth figuring out the two transitions. When everything else is equal, community wins every time. So before you register for your next race, ask yourself, what do I want this race to do for me? 2, does the course fit my current abilities, strengths, and concerns? 3, do the timing and logistics work for my life? 4, does the race support the rest of my season? And 5, will I enjoy the people, atmosphere, and overall experience? The best race isn't necessarily the fastest course, the biggest event, or the one everyone else says you should do. It's the race that fits you. If you're still unsure which race is right for you, I'm offering a free 15-minute race selection consultation. Whether you're choosing your very first triathlon or trying to decide what your next race should be, we can take a look at your goals, your experience, your concerns, your calendar, your training environment, and the race options you're considering. Then we can talk through which one seems to be the best fit for you. You'll find the scheduling link in the show notes. Sometimes the best race isn't the one that looks best on paper. It's the one that allows you to prepare well, use the fitness you've built, enjoy the experience, and walk away proud of what you've accomplished. Thanks for joining me today. If you have a question you'd like answered on a future episode of Coach Erin Says, send it my way. Until next time, train with purpose, race with confidence, and make yourself proud.